up everyone? So finally I have the build guide for the skeleton mages. I know many of you are actually waiting for it. Sorry it took some time. I'm really quite busy and I really want to test many things out before I actually release the build. So here it is. This is actually the high budget skeleton mage build. Of course I have the low budget one as well, but I did not test it. I gotta be very honest. However, I am pretty confident that the low budget is really capable of doing the low tier raid maps as well. Okay, as I've played this build many times in the past before, I'm very clear on how the build actually works, what it's capable, the tankiness of the build, and what it's able to do. Okay, so yeah, this is a skeleton mage. What we emphasize or specialize on is basically summon skeletons over here, and when you summon the skeletons, they actually become a mage with the help of the where is it? With the help of the jewel here, is called Dead Reckoning. Okay, so with Dead Reckoning, summon skeletons can summon up to 15 skeleton mages. Okay, so with 15 skeleton mages, this build actually becomes like range, alright, and the skeletons are indestructible for 4 seconds when you summon them. So basically you don't have to worry about them dying. You will deal like the full damage for her whole 4 seconds, and on top of that they have a really very good block. Okay, so what does this build specialize in? Okay, I'm gonna start off with bossing. Okay, this build is really specialized to boss. You can just throw your minions and just run around the whole arena or map stage, the boss stage, and your objective is really just to dodge all of the boss mechanics so that you don't get one shot or one hit by them, and the minions will basically do the job for you for dealing the damage. You just need to focus on dodging all of the insane one hit boss mechanics. Okay, in terms of mapping, this build is really not the worst. Okay, it's really not the worst, but it's not the fastest as well. I would just say it's pretty much average and decent. Okay, it's not fast, but it does the job well and it is very tanky. So when I say tanky, what I meant was it has a good decent amount of life. Like you can see, I have 5.3k HP. So on top of that, I have max physical block, physical damage reduction. I have bone armor, which grants us immune to bleeding. The buff can take an additional 2200 damage. Okay, so you can kind of say my effective life is like 7500. And on top of that, I have max block rate, which is 75% chance to block attack, 75% chance to block spell. Every time I block, I am going to heal at least around nearly, I don't know, 750 life, around there, okay, estimated around there, and I'll tell you more in this in details afterwards on the POB. Okay, so now with the brief intro finish, as usual, I will go through the POB, and afterwards I'll show some gameplay of this build, and lastly add in some comments for this build. Alright guys, before I go through the POB, I want to let you guys know that the Google spreadsheet has been updated. So first up is the leveling build. So for leveling, you will use this Summon Raging Spirit. It's under the League Start category, okay, for Necromancer. So the POB is over here. You can just take the paste bin and put it onto your path of building. Alright, I'll go through this shortly. Next is the skeleton mages is right over here. Now currently I only have the low and the high budget. There is no mid budget for this, okay? So the POB of course is the paste bin is over here, and the trade links for the low budget is not up as of now. I really do not have time to do the trade links for the low budget. However, in the next few days I will try my best to put it up. Okay, so the links will be here available. Maybe just give me 1 day or two, and then it should be done. The low budget is pretty simple, right? As for the high budget, it is already here. You can just click the link. It will bring you to all of the items you needed to buy. Of course, if you just want to buy the pre-made ones, they are already all here. Okay, however, if you want to craft yourself, it is on this column. Okay, I have emphasized very detailedly step by step how you should craft the item, including like the convoking wand, which I'll have the video later on just specifically for this, especially for this also, because previously I have many players that actually screw this up. So I will do a live video feed of how to actually craft this convoking wand. Right, the rest is literally over here. Okay, you can just read it up yourself, change the filters, whatever. If there's any problems, please just do let me know. Alright, otherwise, yeah, you can have a look at this. Okay, so first up is the SRS League Starter. Alright, and first up is the SRS leveling build guide. Okay, I will not go through a lot about this, but just a quick one. So there are different acts in the list over here. You can just click all of them. So the main focus is literally from Act 1 to Act 5. That is where the troublesome part comes, right? And after Act 6 to Act 10, it should be very, very smooth afterwards. Okay, so just go through this list. Basically, like Act 1, you should have all these skills. Act 2, you have all these skills, and you can just branch them out whichever you like. As long as by the end of the act, you should have all of these important notes. Okay, so I have the levels all the way until level 80 if you still want to continue play this build, or if you are a newcomer and you need time to farm for your low budget. Okay, as for the skill gems and the request rewards to take, please go to my notes section, and I have shown you exactly every different quest point that you need to take. Okay, so it's all over at the note section, like at the end of Act 1, what are the skills you should have, what to take through the acts, at the end of Act 2, so on and so forth. Okay, all the way below down here. Right, so I'll just leave all this to you. For this leveling build, is actually really very simple. You just need to cap your resist and your life, have as much as you can. And for here, if you do not have a 6 link, just use a 4 link according from the top to bottom. So Summon Raging Spirit, minion damage, multi-strike, unleash. This 4 is like mandatory, and then after that is melee splash and immolate. Alright, items, like I say, it's just very, very basic items. Okay, I'm not asking you to have special mods or whatever, just go with whatever you have. This is a leveling build guide. Okay, next is basically the low budget skeleton mages, right? So what you need to take note here is very simple. There are again various skill trees, so you start from level 67. Okay, that's the bare minimum. At least you should have finished the act before you actually play this build. Okay, next is there's level 80, there's level 90, and there's level 95. I'm just going to use the level 90 as an example. So over here, right, because we are not on the high budget, items are very scarce. You don't really have a lot of like mana reservation items, notes and stuff like that. So we are gonna give up like Tempest Shield, which is basically gonna give us a lot of spellbook chance, and we're not gonna go for any cluster jewel. Okay, this is the low budget. I'm not expecting you to have very crazy like 10, 11, 12 skill, passive skill points cluster. No. This is a very straightforward skill tree. The most you will just branch out to jewel sockets and put in like Ghastly Eye Jewels just have one mod of life and one mod of minion damage modifier. Okay, the rest is just very simple: scaling minion damage, scaling some auras, and have lots of block. All the way here below there's like block as well. And with the new introduction of this mastery, right, skill cost life instead of 30% of mana cost, I can safely say you will never have mana problems. Okay, you will never have mana problems, and of course including the non-challenging mana benchcraft, you will have even less problems with it. Okay, plus we are using Stone Golem, so our life regen you can see is really very high, 471. Definitely we will not have problems. Okay, so I'll just leave the skill tree for you guys to see. Next is the skills. For the skills, it's just Vow Summon Skeleton, Spell Echo, Minion Damage, Volley, Pierce. I think this 5 is kind of like mandatory. The last one is really up to personal preference, okay? I chose Elemental Focus because I still want to be able to crit with my Summon Skeletons. Okay, and this is just Summon Skeleton alone, okay? If you are Vow Summon Skeleton, you can see a DPS is going to reach 2000. However, like I mentioned, I mentioned before, minion builds are not exactly accurate on the DPS for PoB. Okay, so you cannot like fully really rely on it. Okay, then we have our trigger wands for the Desecrate, Bone Offering, and Life Tap so that we do not have to spend mana. Aura is very straightforward: Generosity plus the Lottery and Precision. For the second set of auras, we're just going to go with Determination and Defiance Banner. Okay, that's all. Really, that's all, because we don't have enough mana as well. Utility is the same: Flame Dash and Convocation. So the first support minions, right, is going to be Raise, Spectral, Animate Guardian with just minion life and mid shield. Okay, so for the low budget, the Raise Spectral, you can see over here I have written on the notes as well. So for your support Spectrals, just stick 2 Carnage Shifter and 1 Host Shifter. Alright, in the early games, you really don't have access to a lot of Spectrals. However, if you want the better ones like Pale Seraphim or Arena Master, you can always just come to my Discord and request for it. Right, for the Animate Guardian setup, this is the low budget version. So for weapon, just use Dying Breath. Helmet is Leer Cast. Body Armor is Goofcool Spell. Now this might cost a little bit expensive at the start, but it should be fine, and I guess this is like the bare minimum you should have before even using any Animate Guardian setup. Okay, Glove is just southbound for the percentage increase maximum life, and Boots, right, is if you cannot get a rare life boots with Drops, Bitter Ground, and Spell Separates Eldritch modifiers, which I think is really actually very difficult. Trust me, just get any rare life boots, okay? Okay, I'm just going to change this. Just get any rare life boots. There is really no real good boots for the low budget Animate Guardian. Okay, I might change this in future if I actually find out anything. Right, okay, and next is the third support minions. So it's Summon Stone Golem and Feeding Frenzy. It's really nice to have this combination, to be honest. Okay, so first of all, Summon Stone Golem is going to give you a lot of regeneration over here, 110 life regeneration. This is really good. And with Feeding Frenzy, right, the Stone Golem becomes very aggressive, so it will like charge into any of the pack of mobs. And what is nice about Stone Golem is it actually taunts all of them so that it doesn't attack you instead. It doesn't attack your character instead, but it attacks the Stone Golem. And when you're fighting like very tanky rare monsters or bosses, Calling Strike is going to do really, really good with it. Okay, last one is just Curse. Curse, we're going to use Punishment so that we can stay alive better with the Debilitate. And of course, Curse enemies take 58% increased damage while on low life. As long as they are less than 50%, you can see their life is going to drop really, really very fast. Okay, item is just very simple. Convoking won't just slap on a Essence of Fear. The rest, right, is literally just okay. Other than the shield you need some life and block, and then of course life gain on hit when you block. There's really no other better mod. Helmet is just +1 to minion skill gem life, and then have a prefix and craft maximum number of raised zombies and maximum number of skeletons. This is from the Betrayer crafting. Okay, and the rest is literally just crafting life and resistance. For your rings, as usual I'll go for those stats, okay, additional stats that's required for the build. Okay, and your flask is Quicksilver with movement speed because the build is just very slow. Quartz with reduced effect of curse, Basalt with increased armor, and this is needed. Okay, Rumi's Concoction is really needed for us to cap block chance. Of course, the Eternal Life Flask because we are still on low budget. And the rest is really the Ghastly Eye Jewels are just bonuses from the jewel sockets. This is mandatory, okay? But you don't need to have like 9% or elemental resistance. Any will do, okay? Just any will do. Okay, of course, make sure in my note section I put here that for mapping you just need to reroll the following mods. Just take note that you should reroll them, okay? They are really very difficult for necromancers for this build to do actually. So you can just copy this and paste it into your any one of your tab to ensure that you are able to do the maps. Okay, and this is the high budget POB for skelemages. I want you guys to pay a close attention because there are a lot of complications as compared to the low budget build. So first up is the cluster jewel. Alright, the cluster jewel is going to have 10 passive skills. Now you can have 9, you can have 11, you can have 12. Honestly, it doesn't matter because we are not going to use up every single one node of it. I will prefer to be at least around 9, 10 or 11. It should be fine. Okay, because the back nodes, right, all of the nodes behind, you're not going to take it until you are like level 95 and above. So you can see this is a level 95 tree. Alright, so I will not do it until I've reached probably like level 100, and then I'll just take those behind for the cluster. Okay, so do take note of this. As for the rest of them, right, we will mostly be using Ghastly Eye Jewel. Okay, so Ghastly Eye Jewel is just to help us with the additional life, minion damage mods, and of course, we are lacking in some stats. So there are some with stats and some actually with full damage Abyss Jewel. Okay, so do take note of that. And oh yes, one thing I forgot to emphasize is the medium cluster jewel here. You want to have blessed rebirth on this because minions created recently cannot be damaged. So which means all your summon skeletons cannot be damaged for 4 seconds. Okay, this is really very important. I like to have renewal on my other passive. This is to give a little bit more survivability to your support minions, and of course your minion have 5% chance to deal double damage when they are on full life. Our summon skeletons is always on full life for the first 4 seconds, so do remember that. And the rest is the same. Okay, so I'll just leave it for you guys to actually see the rest of the skill tree. However, I only have level 80 onwards because the awakened gems are starting from level 80, and that's the bare minimum requirement to play this build. Alright, next is the skills. So for the skills, is slightly gonna be different and interesting. First up is the Vaal Summon Skeletons. Just use a level 20. You can just purchase a level 21 Vaal Summon Skeleton, okay, with 0 quality. Okay, mind you, 0 quality. This is actually gonna give us more damage than a 20 Vaal Summon Skeleton. You can see here the damage is a lot lesser. Alright. I think for those of you that have been playing minions, you will understand that level is the best asset for minion build. Alright, the more level it is, the more life and damage it's gonna do. Okay, next for the spell echo, go with the anomalous spell echo. Okay, this is gonna give your Vaal Summon Skeletons a lot of cast speed, and they're gonna be shooting out a lot of projectiles really very fast. Okay, chain and link with awakened minion damage. Pierce, volley, just have this at level 21, and this is the new skill gem that we're gonna use. Okay, so it's not really new anymore. I think there are a lot of players or build guys out there with skelemages that are actually also using this, so it's really very good. What it does is projectiles from supporter skills have 60% chance to return to you. So for those of you that are familiar with Nimis, this is literally like Nimis. Okay, so the skeletons will shoot out and it will return back to them. Okay, however, this 60%, this is only 60% chance, okay? And this 60% chance involves with, let's say, if one skeleton is going to shoot out 3 projectiles, these 3 projectiles will have the same equal number of chance to return to you. It doesn't mean all 3 projectiles have a different percentage chance to return them to you, like maybe 3 of them fly to the front, shoot out through the front, and only 2 come back. No, it doesn't work that way. If it comes back, all of them will come back together, but however, if you miss the chance, none of them will come back at all. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, and the trigger one is still the same. So Desecrate, Bone Offering, and Life Tap. Auras is also still the same. Awaken Generosity with the upgraded version, and Zealotry and Precision. For the Auras, is going to have an additional temper shield. So now that we are on high budget, we'll have more mana reservation, and I'm able to allocate a temper shield to this. Right. And the support minions is still the same. However, you want to have a level 21 race spectra. Okay. Level 21 race spectra is because by reaching level 25, right, you can actually raise 4 spectras. Okay. I'll show you where the other 2 level is later on. So if you have a level 20 Spectre, it's not gonna cut it. So level 21 is required. Enemy Guardian just get a Divergent 1 with 40% increased minion maximum life so that your AG is gonna stay alive. Okay, next is the Summon Stone Golem. Try to get the Anomalous so that you have increased buff effect, Feeding Frenzy. So no longer gonna use Calling Strike because this is a high budget, you don't really need it. Your AG itself has Calling Strike already. Okay, utility is the same, Flame Dash and Convocation. We have Bone Armor and Reckoning from the shield, which I'll mention later on. Okay, so now for the items. Now this is the complicated part. Okay, this is the complicated part. So first up is our best item in the whole entire build, which is the +1/+1 minion damage convoking one. Okay, this is like the final version of the wand, and I'm going to show you how to craft it now. But before I go into that, you can see the +1/+1 is really very important because it contributes to every single one of our minions minion skill over here. Okay, so all those active minion skill like your Summon Stone Golem, Raise Spectra, Animate Guardian, especially your Spectra. Okay, this is among the +4, right? The +2 actually comes from the wand. So all of this plus skill level gems is really very powerful, and you want to have the minions still increase damage. I am not asking you to get like a tier 1 tier 2 minion damage on fractured minion damage on a convoking wand. That is like crazy madness. It's very very expensive, so you can just go with anything you like 50% is good enough. Okay, 50% is really good enough. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to actually craft this wand right now. Alright guys, I'm going to show you how to craft the rare convoking wand. Alright, so first of all, you want to purchase a convoking wand that has a fractured modifier of minions deal so and so increased damage. Okay, this one is completely up to your budget. If you feel you want higher, then you can just pay more div for probably higher tier. For now, I just took this tier 4, which is like around 2 divine. Okay, around 2 divine. If you want higher, then probably you gotta go higher, like 4 divine for 70 to 80 plus increased damage. Alright, and next what you want to do is buy this 4 fossils with the prime chaotic resonator. Alright, first of all is corroded fossil, and then jagged fossil, shuddering fossil, and metallic fossil. Okay, now this process is a little bit tedious because you have to buy the fossils and socket them one by one like this. This is properly socketed already. So once you have done this, okay, take the fossil and put into the prime chaotic resonator. Okay, all 4 of them. Okay, this is going to help us block a lot of modifiers, so it will be much easier to roll the +1/+1 modifier on our wand. Okay, what we are aiming for here is minion damage, which we already have, +1 to spell skill gems, and +1 to minion spells, minion skill gems. Alright, so with this, right, it's so much easier, and we just need a open suffix. Okay, an open suffix so that we can remove all of the suffix and just have the 3 crafted modifier, benchcraft the trigger socketed spell, and of course minion attack speed. So if in circumstances where the suffix and prefix is full, I'm sorry, you got to bet it on the Orb of Annulment in such a way that it removes one of the suffix at random. Okay, if it removes the prefix, then it's a very unfortunate accident. You probably have to do it again. Okay, so one of this is probably going to cost, let's just say, around 35 to 40 C. Okay, 35 to 40 C. The prime chaotic resonator at this point of making the video is 25 C. Shuddering and Corrodal Forcer is like 5C each, and the other two is 1C. Okay, so straight. Wait, I'm not sure if I can do it on Magic. I'm just gonna try. Oh, I can't. Okay, I'm just gonna rare it first. Okay, I think I'll just regular it. Okay, so do it on a rare one. Here we go. Got 5 of them. Okay, 5 of them. Let's see if I can hit it 5 of them. Otherwise, I'll show the next step later. So 1. Oh, there we go. We already have that +1 to all minion skill gems. Okay, what we are really looking for here is the +1/+1. Remember. Okay. Next. Oh, we got it. Wow, that's really lucky. Okay, so the average count that you probably need, average is about I will say about 8 of them. Around 7 to 8 of these prime chaotic resonators. That's what I've tried in the emulator, and so far it's been quite consistent, about 7 to 8. Sometimes I get 4, sometimes I get I need like 12. So yeah, average. But wow, this is really lucky. Okay, so this is a very good example. You see, the prefix already has the +1 to all minion skill gem. The prefix also has the +1 to all spell skill gem, but we have 3 suffix, and that's a problem. Okay, that's a problem. So what we need to do is you need to take a Orb of Annulment and YOLO on this. Okay, first of all, it will not remove the fracture mod, so that's something good to know. Next is it might remove the prefix, so yeah, God bless. Let's go. Oh, good. Okay, so now it has removed one of the suffix. What you want to do here is take this one. Okay, go to your benchcraft, put it in, and benchcraft prefix cannot be changed. Now this is very expensive. This whole process is very expensive. What you need to do is prefix cannot be changed. That's step 1. Scour, so that you will have no suffix, and then you benchcraft. Okay, let's just do it. Okay, so prefix cannot be changed. Right. Okay, take it over to here. I am gonna take a scour, and if you scour this, the minion deal so and so increase damage +1/+1 will remain, but the suffix will be completely gone. Okay, so yep, here, see, alright, and now take back this wand, go back here, and craft this. Can have up to 3 crafted modifier. Now this is another 2 divine. Okay, so you can see the process here has already reached 4 divine. Okay, really expensive crafting over here. Here we go. And next, after you've done this, what you want to do is benchcraft this. Trigger a socketed spell when you use a skill with an 8-second cooldown. Okay, let's do this. Okay, and the last one will be minions. Okay, we will want to craft these. Minions have so and so increased attack speed and cast speed. Okay, this is like focusing on damage. Okay, if you really want other stuff, then by all means, okay, you want to craft your chaos resistance or whatever, which honestly I don't feel is worth it, so this is the best. Right, so back to this. So we're gonna craft this. Alright, hopefully we can get 15%. That is like the best. And yeah, we got it. Okay, we got it. So this is your final wand. This is how it is supposed to look like. Do you need any harvest crafting? No. There is really nothing about harvest crafting that is gonna benefit us. Let me just show you. I'm gonna type here quality. So increase area of effect, increase accuracy, increase attack speed, increase critical strike, increase elemental damage. None of this is gonna affect us, so you don't have to harvest craft. Okay, that's the good part. And yeah, that's how you craft the rare convoking wand. Okay, and let's continue with our item. Next is the shield. So because we are going live build, the surrender is the BIS for this slot. Okay. For those of you that doesn't know what BIS, it means best in slot. Why is it the best? Because it is the one and only shield that gives you the highest amount of life recover when you block. Even a shaper shield that has the 5% life required, it really can't win this. Okay, so 5% is only about 250. This is just straight up 250 to 500. Of course, you want to get something that has a good roll, which is like 450. And with the bone offering, you should be able to every time you block, you're gonna probably heal 700 plus, around there. Okay, around there. So yeah, shield is the surrender. Okay, this is gonna be slightly expensive, about 3 div. Helmet. So the helmet is going to be slightly complicated in a way that you have to find a helmet with life +2 to all minion skill gems and a prefix slot. Now this is like the perfect 3 mod in the prefix section. Okay, so it might be a little bit difficult. The trade link is already at there. However, I am not asking you to go for a very crazy amount of suffixes, because otherwise it will be very difficult to find. So just take any resistance that you find with the three prefix, or literally the 2 prefix with an empty prefix slot, so that you can craft +1 to maximum number of skeletons. Once you have done that, roll the Searing Exarch and Eater of War, the Embers and the Equal yourself, so that you get the Punishment, Curse effect, and of course the 8% increased mana reservation efficiency of skills. Last but not least, just go to TFT and put your helmet into some of the lab runners, and make sure you have the enchantment of Skeletons deal 40% increased damage. Okay, it is better than buying the helmet with this enchant. Okay, this enchant at that time I was only paying about 3D for it, so come on guys, it's worth it. Okay, next, body armor, flesh crafter. This is a no-brainer. Okay, this is definitely a no-brainer when you're playing summon skeletons. This is a must-have because of the last line. While minions have energy shield, their hits ignore monster elemental resistance. What this means is literally the elemental resistance is 0. Okay, I just break it down for you. It means 0. How do I know this? Go to just configuration. Look at this. I am already fighting a Guardian Pinnacle boss. Okay, if I'm fighting a standard map boss, my damage is the same. If I'm on map, my damage is also the same. So everything else is the same. There is no resistance from the Guardian or the Pinnacle bosses, and that's why I know this flesh crafter thing works. Okay, next is your gloves. For your gloves, just find any fractured resistance and just spam your essence with life until you have a prefix on it. Okay, I don't want to make this very complicated, so this is just a life plus resist glove, and of course the Searing Exarch and Eater of War you can just roll yourself. For the boots is also the same. However, because we don't really need too much sources of the elemental resistance, so try to get one with chaos resistance fractured, and just throw in the essence for maximum life and try to hit one of the resistance, and just benchcraft the movement speed plus 100% chance to avoid being chilled. Okay, this is something that you need to take note over here. For the Searing Exarch and the Eater of War, you have to roll them correctly. Okay, for Searing Exarch, Bone Offering has 9% increase effect. This is not the lowest tier of the Ember. This is basically the greater Ember. Greater Eldritch Ember, yeah, correct. If you are going to use the lesser one, you are not able to hit 9%, okay? And because you're not able to hit 9%, you will not be able to cap your block. So take note of this really very carefully. Okay, next is the Amulet. The Amulet, you do not need to have Coral Amulet, okay? I purposely put Coral Amulet is so that you can take any Amulet as the base. I am not asking you to have very specific Amulet, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult to find. What you need to find over here is basically a fractured +1 to maximum number of skeletons. Now this one I actually bought it off on the trade market at the start for like 100 C. Okay, and then I crafted this myself. So mine was, okay, I can't remember what was mine. Let me just do a quick check. Okay, mine was an Onyx Amulet. So basically I had this Onyx Amulet with +1 to maximum number of skeletons, and I bought this for 100 C. But the market is always fluctuating, so you might have to buy this at 1 div or maybe even lower. Okay, it really depends. And just slap on the Essence of Sorrow with Dex. and try to hit one chaos resistance. Okay, however, if your chaos resistance is already capped from your large cluster jewel, so on and so forth, then you really do not need a chaos resistance. Okay, I have written down in the Google spreadsheet how to actually craft this. Okay, it is over here. Okay, scroll down. There is a amulet over here. Yep, this whole section over here. Okay, so just really just follow accordingly. All right. Okay, and next is the minion ring. Okay, this minion ring also from here it looks really very nice, right? All this right is actually deterministic crafting. Okay, what you need is a bone ring with minions deal so and so increase damage fracture. I'm not asking you to get a tier 1 or tier 2, that is really very expensive, so just get whatever you're able to afford and start crafting. Then again, the steps are all right over here, you can just follow accordingly. I'm pretty sure you will understand. Right, same for the other bone ring. So next is the belt. The belt we are going to use darkness and throne. Okay, now this belt has been changed. It has a 50% to 100% range of increased effect of socketed abyss jewel. I would prefer you to buy at least a 90% increased effect, so that you try to get nearly double the stats on whatever that's on the ghastly eye jewel. And over here we want to try to plug in the ghastly eye jewel with the minion damage. So you can see here, I have the minions have increased attack speed and cast speed, minions have so and so elemental damage. Okay, the reason why I don't have the most popular mods, which is minions deal additional increased minion damage if you have cast a minion skill recently, is because if you have both of those mods, I can tell you easily one ghastly eye jewel is going to cost a few divine. Okay, and that is really expensive. In my own opinion, it is not worth it. So that's why I have put this over here, and I can tell you it is more than enough. You don't really have to spend the additional divine just for that particular mod. To me, I personally feel it is really not worth it. Okay, Flask, just follow accordingly. The Rumi's concoction is really needed. Okay, make sure you have 6% chance to block spell damage. And the thing I want to let you know is the Amethyst Flask. Okay, what happens if your chaos resistance has been maxed out? You have two options over here. One, you buy a Bottle Fate. Okay, you buy a Bottle Fate to give you consecrated ground so that you can regenerate. Your summon skeletons is going to create consecrated ground also because of Zilor 3, and the enemy is going to take 10% increased damage, which is really very good. Right, however, if you do not want Bottle Fate, you can just use a Life Flask. Right, that works as well. Or if you want a more defensive layer, buy a Taste of Hate. Okay, Taste of Hate, which is over here. So 10 to 15% of physical damage from hits is taken as cold damage, and just the flask itself, you already have 20% less cold damage taken, which is really very good. Okay, and the rest is just, you just gotta follow here, alright? Fortress Covenant, Quickening Covenant, so on and so forth, you can just follow it. Okay, next it will be the node section. Same for mapping. If you cannot do all of these mods, or more like I would say you should not do all of these mods, please check. For the Animate Garden setup, it is literally all here. Because of the changes to Kingmaker, now Kingmaker is really very expensive. Okay, it's about 6 to 7 divine if I remember correctly. Okay, so yeah, the Animate Guardian setup is very expensive, and I would suggest to purchase this last. Okay, and for the support Spectre setup, there is two variations. One is you just take 2 Carnage Chieftain, 1 Arena Master, and 1 Pale Seraphim. Or you can swap out 1 Carnage Chieftain for a Primal Crush Core. Now, personally, I prefer having 2 Carnage Chieftain because you are constantly summoning your skeletons, right? And the Frenzy Charges will not always be there. The Frenzy Charges will actually give your skeletons really good damage, because they are going to stand there or be summoned there for quite a while. When it reaches 3 Frenzy Charges, you can see them firing the projectiles so much that it totally feels like some firework. Alright, so yeah, and the rest of the commonly questioned asked is over here. Now, because this is a build that I have not been playing for quite some time, I do not have all the questions, but this will be consistently updated as time goes, alright, because I do not know what other questions you guys will have. As long as common or generic questions, I will try to edit over here and I'll update the POB. Okay, and make sure that last but not least, your configurations is correct. Okay, this is really very important, especially your anime guardian gears. This is the custom modifiers on it. Okay, do make sure it is correct. Okay, there's an additional thing I would like to add on. So because we are using these faster projectiles, anomalous faster projectiles, the projectiles have a very high chance of returning back to you, right? You got to remember this DPS is not exactly accurate, okay? So POB doesn't really calculate this. However, if you want an estimated DPS, you can just multiply this by 2. Okay, so instead of 12 skeletons, it's 24. So that will actually count in the DPS for this projectile returns to you because it will hit the monster or enemy again. Okay, however, I'm just going to leave this at 12 for you to have a quick view of the base DPS. Alright, this is with Val Summon Skeletons, okay? And I can tell you for bossing this build is really very easy and good. Alright, next up is I am going to talk about what are the further upgrades that you can actually do after you have completed this, okay? One thing you need to note is when you are done with this build, the first upgrade you should always do is to buy a over here a corrupted flesh crafter, okay, with minion skill gems plus 2. Okay, by doing this, right, you can see now I'm at 9.4 million. Okay, I'm just going to okay, let me just do a quick save first. I'm sorry guys. Okay, I'm gonna corrupt it again, plus 2 minions. Okay, I'm gonna save. You can look at my DPS, it just shot up by 2 million. By 2 million, that is really a lot. Okay, that is really a lot. Just like about a 20% DPS increase. Okay, that is really a lot, and this is the first thing you should ever upgrade. Okay, next is you can upgrade by buying a Ashes Amulet. Okay, by buying an Ashes Amulet, you're actually increasing a lot of DPS and survivability as well. Why survivability? Because it grants you 25% to quality of all skill gems, all active skill gems. That means your Val Summon Skeletons, look at what level it is. This is like level 28, 29 Val Summon Skeleton. Okay, 29 Val Summon Skeletons. Okay, and your trigger wand is like offering is going to have a quality of 45 as well, which is going to give your minions 20% cast speed. Right, auras I think not so much, okay, but there's still effects in place. And of course all of the rest of your gears is also very important, which is like punishment, all of those that has additional quality is going to be really very good, including your support minions. Right, you can see all of the additional quality is really very good as well. Stone Golem is going to give you like 40% increased buff effects. 40%. You can see regeneration has increased. Utility wise, not so much of a use, but it's still better than nothing. Okay, so just one Ashes, right, it's also going to give you a very big DPS boost. So we was at 11.5 M. If I is going to equip Ashes, it's a 3 million increased boost. Okay, however, if you're going to equip Ashes, you need to remember your chaos resistance might drop, and your active skeleton, summon skeleton is gonna be 11 instead of 12. So you got the technically you should change this also. Okay, you should change this to 11. Okay, sorry. So we have about 13.2 million DPS, about 2 million increase as well. Okay, but it's gonna give you a lot more damage also. So just take note of this. For the rest of them, honestly, the Forbidden Flame and Flash there's really nothing good, to be honest. Okay, I personally feel like having the Ghastly Eye Jewel is much more impactful than having a Forbidden Flame and Flash. Right, so yep, that's it. I'll leave the rest of the POB for you guys to see. Okay guys, that's it for the video. I might not have covered every single thing. So if you have any other questions, just do pop by my Discord and ask me or ask anyone over there. We're all very nice and friendly. And yeah, you can just leave your questions in the comments below. So once I have time, I'll just read it and try to reply as soon as possible. Right, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.